Ganeshaya Namaha, Shri Saraswatyai Namaha, Shri Sadgurubhyo Namaha. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram Manojabam Marudhatulya Vegam Jitendriyam Buddhimatam Varishtam Vatatmajam Vanarayuta Mukhyam Sri Ramadutam Sirasa Namami Santoshini Jaganmata Mama Saubhagyavruddhaye Namaskaromi Bhaktya Tvam Prasanna Varada Bhava Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Kridau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Om Namah Pranavarthaya Shuddha-jnanaikamurtaye Nirmalaya Prashandaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Satchitananda-rupaya Vishwotpattyadi-hetave Tapatraya-vinashaya Shri Krishnaya Vayam Namaha Nilambujasyamalakomalangam Sita Samaropita Vamabhagam Parnau Mahasayaka Charu Chapam Namami Ramam Raghuvamsanatham Janmatyasya yadonvayati taratachatesya vitnyaswarat Tene Brahma Hridaya Adigavaye Muhyanti Yatsuraya Tejo Varimurdam Yatha Vinimayo Yatra Tisargo Vrisha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirastaguhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi Yam Pravrajandamanupetamapeta-krityam Dvaipayano Virahakatara Ajuhava Putreti Tanmayadayattaravo Vinedo Tam Sarvabhutahridayam Munimanatosmi Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Last class we completed the second canto. Now we have to start the third canto. So we have seen first canto, Adhikari. So who is the Adhikari for studying Bhagavatam? Through the story of Parikshit. So it was indicated that a person like Parikshit is the fit student for Bhagavatam. Then what that student has to do is sadhana, meditation. 3 levels of meditations were given in the second canto. Now the third canto, towards the end of the second canto also, given the lakshana of the Puranas. Mahapuranas, lakshanas were given. So Bhagavatam is a Mahapurana. So there are 10 more cantos are there. The 10 topics were discussed, talked about. For out of that, one, now the third canto starts with Sarga. Sarga means creation. Creation are two kind. Tattvanusar creation and Jiva Karmanusar creation. Tattvanusar creation, total intellect, element, etc. The Panchabhutas. Creation of Jivas, Karmanusar. So first one will be Tattvanusar. These are the two things will be explained here. In this third canto, there are different topics are there. So one is the basic tattva and jiva tattva. Second one is the Varahavatar, measurement of time and space. Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu's origin. Then Hiranyakshavadham. Then Kardama Prajapati and birth and teaching of Kapila Muni. So these are the topics in the third canto. Now the Katha starts with the Sri Shuka Uvacha. Evametat pura prishto Maitreyo Bhagavan kila Kshatravanam pravishtena Tektva swagrihamut vruddhimate Swagriham ruddhimate Yadva ayam mandrakriddho Bhagavan Akhileshwaraha Pauravendra griham hitva Praviveshatmasat kritam. Sri Shukamarshi says, after having left his home of plenty, so griham radhimat, the home of plenty for the life of a hermit for the forest. So he's talking, Vidura put this very question to the sage Maitreya. So this Maitreya Vidura Samvada is quoted here because similar questions were asked by Parikshit to Shuka Maharshi. So in answer to that, he is quoting the conversation between Vedurji and Maitreya Rishi. Now, he said, Yadva ayam mandagruddho Bhagavan Akhileshwaraha Pauravendra griham hitva pravivesh atmasat kritam. When Bhagavan Krishna went to Hastinapura for Shanti Doot, even though Duryodhana invited Krishna to come to his house for Bhiksha, but Bhagavan refused to go there. Instead, he went to Vidurji's house. Why? Because he considered Atmasat Kritam. He considered it as his own house. So Duryodhana said, come to my house. Bhagavan said, why should I come to your house? Vidurji said, Bhagavan, it is your own house, you come to your house. So Bhagavan said, okay, I will come to my house. That is how. Now Rajo Vacha. Utrakshatur Bhagavata Maitrena Sasangamaha Kadava Sahasamvada Edat Varnayanah Prabho. Now Raja naturally asked, when did Vidura met Maitreya Rishi? When did the conversation between them take place? Please describe all in details. Now Sutaji is coming back here. Sayevam Rishi Varyesham Varyoyam Prishto Rajna Parikshida Pratyahatam Subuhu Vipritatma Sruyatam iti. Now Sutaji says, most learned Shuka Maharshi, having been questioned, began to reply highly pleased. Sri Shuka Uvacha, Yada Duraja Sasutana Sadhun Pushnana Dharmena Vinashta Drishtihi Bhraturya Vishtasya Sutan Vibandhun Praveshya Sat Laksha Bhavane Dadaha. These are all Mahabharata in brief given here in a different form. When Raja Dhritarashtra bent on supporting his wicked son by any unrighteous means, attempted to burn the helpless and orphaned sons of Pandu in a house of lac, the noble-minded Vidura may be said to have left the place in disgust. Yada sabhayam kurudeva devya kesha vimarsham sutakarma garhyam navarayamasa nirvas snushaya swastrer haranya kuchakunkumani. When the Raja Dhritarashtra cared not to prevent the most despicable act of his son Dushasana in dragging by the hair into the assembly Draupadi, the queen of the Kurus, who was to him like his own daughter-in-law, while she shed tears, then may Vidura be said to have left that palace. Dyute dharmena jitasya sadho satyavalambasya vanagatasya nayachato dat samayena dayam tamo jushano yadajadashatroho ajadashatroho. When Yudhishthira, the most righteous and truthful one, who was defeated in foul play at dice, returned from exile in the forest according to stipulation and demanded the restoration of his kingdom, and Raja Dhritarashtra failed to comply out of greedy infatuation, then may Vidura be said to have left the palace. Yadaja partha prahitas sabhayam jagat gururyani jagata krishnaha natani pumsam amrutayanani rajo rumenu shatapunyaleshaha. When the helpless Dhritarashtra would not give ear to the very acceptable and cordial message of compromise delivered by the world-honored Krishna, deputed as their messenger by the Pandavas, then may Vidura be said to have left his house for the forest. Idopahuto bhavanam pravishto mantraya prishta kila purvajena athaha tanmantra drisham variyan yanmantrino vaidurikam vadanti. When his brother Dhritarashtra once called him, noted as a wise counselor, to advising on some matter of great importance, Vidura gave him a piece of advice that has become famous among thoughtful counselors as Vidura Niti. It as follows. Ajata Shatro Padiyachadayam Tidikshato Durvishaham Tavagaha Sahanujo Yatra Vrgodarahi Shusandrusha Yatvamalam Vibheshi. Gave back his ancestral portion to Yudhishthira, who is even now behaving with infinite patience, in spite of the offenses you have committed against him, offenses at which his brother Bhima is hissing like a provoked serpent and causing you immense terror. Sayesha dosha purushadvidasto ste grihan pravishto yamapatyamatya Ushnasi krishnat vimuko gyadashri ajashvase shaivam kulakaushalaya. An embodiment of evil and a denouncer of God, Duryodhana resides in your house. Hostile to Krishna and so deprived of all goodness, you are culturing this essence of evil, regarding it to be your son. If you desire the good of your clan, drive away that center of evil from your home without any more delay. Now, all these are spoken in front of Duryodhana, okay? Ityujivam satra suyodhanena pravrittago vaspurithadharena asatkrita sat sprihaniya shilaha kshatta sakarnanujaso balena. Irritated by this speech of Vidura, Duryodhana stood there with his lips quivering in anger. Along with his friends like Karna, Shakuni, and Dushasana and others, he insulted the virtuous Vidura. Ka ena matropa juhava jihyam jihvam dasyasutam yat valinena pushtaha tasmin pratipa parakritya aste nirvasyata masu purachvasanaha purachvasanaha. Who has introduced this fellow? Duryodhana says, who has introduced this fellow here? A rogue, a slave girl's son, treacherous to those who have fed him till now. He has turned antagonistic to them as is allying himself with their enemies. Push him out of the palace. Let us hear the fellow howling. Sahityamatyulbanakarnabhane Bradupuro marmasutadhitopi Swayam dhanurdhari nithaya mayam Gatavyathoya durmanayanaha. Though the struck with fears, wordy shaft at vulnerable spot, Vidura departed peacefully, without any hatred in his mind, throwing his weapon at the door of the palace and looking upon the whole affair as the mysterious working of the Lord's Maya. Sanargata Kaurupa Punyalabdaha Gajahvaya Tirthapadappadani Anvakramat Punya Chikishayorvyam Sudhishtito Yati Sahasramurtihi. Vidura, who was a blessing for the clan of Kurus, thus departed from Hastinapura, and for securing the Lord's grace, traveled on pilgrimage to all the sacred spots on earth, sanctified by the different manifestation of Mahavishnu. The washing was whose feet form the sacred river Ganga. Pureshu punyopavanatrikunjo Shopankato yeshu saritsaratsu Anandalingai sabalankriteshu Chacharatirthayataneshwananyaha. He visited all alone holy cities like Mathura, Vrindavana, Govardhana, bathed in the clear waters of rivers and lakes, and worshipped a shrine dedicated to multiform image of the Lord. Gam paryadanmetya vivikta vrittihi sadapluto dasyayano vadhuta alakshita swaira vadhuta vesha vratani chere haritoshanani. Pure and disciplined in his ways of life, bathing in holy waters, lying only on the bare ground, unmindful of bodily needs, dressed barely like an avadhuta and unrecognized by any of his own people, he traveled from place to place, observing vows pleasing to Sri Hari. Itham Rajan Bharatameva Varsham Kalena Yavat Gatavan Prabhasam Tavaccha Sasa Shitimeka Chakram Ekatapatram Achitena Parthaha. Traveling all over the land of Bharata in his way, he reached Prabhasa by the time Yudhishthira, after the great Mahabharata war, had begun to rule the land, having brought the whole country under one army and one umbrella, regal umbrella. Tatradashushrava suhrit vinashtim Vanam yata vedu javakni samsayam samsparthaya dagdamatharushojan saraswatim pratyagiyaya tushnim. There he happened to hear about the total destruction of his clans. Of all those who were near and dear to him, through the fratricidal war, even as a bamboo forest is reduced to ashes by the conflagration caused by the violent friction between bamboo trees. Sad and silent, he walked towards the source of the river Saraswati. Tasyam tridasyo shayano shanaso manoscha pruthorathagner asitasya vayo tirtham sudasasya gavanguhasya yachraddha devasya sa asisheve. Along that river, he resorted to holy region associated with Tirtha Trita, Shukra, Manu, Prithu, Agni, Asita, Vayu, Sudasha, Guha, Shraddha, Deva. Anyani chehatyujadev devai kridani danayatanani Vishnu pratyang mukhyangida mandirani yaddarshanat Krishna manusmaranti. Many were the other holy places he visited in that region. All temples of the Lord Vishnu founded by great rishis and devas which help one to keep up the remembrance of Sri Krishna. Tatastodivrijya surashtramirtham sauviramatyan kurujangalancha kalena tavat manu tavatyamunamupetya tatrottavam bhagavatam dadarsha. He traveled afterward through the prosperous land of Saurashtra, Sauvira, Matsya, Kuru, Jangala, and other until in course of time he reached the region of Yamuna, where he happened to meet that great devotee Uddhava. Savasudevanucharam prashantam brihaspate praktanayam pratitam Alingyargadham pranayena bhadram swanama prichat bhagavat prajanam. When they met each other, Vidura held him the serene discipline of Brihaspati. Uddhava's guru was Brihaspati himself and devoted follower of Sri Krishna in his warm embrace. Then he began to question Uddhava about the men and women of his own clan, as also of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Kachit Purano Purusho Sonabhya Padmanuvritteha Kilavatirnau Asada Urvya Kushalam Vidhaya Kridakshano Kushalam Suragehe. Are not Krishna and Rama, who incarnated on the earth at the request of Brahma, living happily at the house of Surasena after having accomplished the good of the world? Now from here onward, Vidruji asked the welfare of each and everyone in Dwaraka, remembering each of them with their special characteristics and name. Now the 42nd verse he says, Soham Harer Martya Vidambanena Trishodranam Chalayato Vidatuhu Nanyopalakshya Padivim Prasadat Charami Pashyan Kyata Vismayotra. By the grace of the Lord, who has been mystifying all by his human role as the incarnate, I am going about incognito, finding nothing surprising in any happening, as I discern the mystery of the Lord in everything. Now with that chapter is over. Now the answer comes. Sri Shuka says, Iti Bhagavata Prishta Kshatravartam Priyashayam Prativaktum na chotseha Autkandhya Smariteshwara. Being thus questioned about the rest of his dear ones, the great devotee Uddhava was unable to speak for some time owing to the surging emotion that overtook him as he thought of his Lord and Master Bhagavan Krishna. After some time, he controlled himself. He answered, Uddhava Vacha, Krishna Dhyumaninim Loje Girneshvachakirenaha Kim Nunak Kushalam Bruyam Gatasri Shugriheshwaham. Uddhava said, what am I to tell you about the welfare of those friends and relatives of whom you have inquired? When the sun of Krishna has set and the python of time has swallowed our clans, when thereby we have been reduced to mere non-entities in the world. Durbhago badalo goyam yatavodhitaramapi ye samvasanto na vidurharim meena ivodupam. This is a misfortune for the world at large. It is all the more so for the Yadus, as the fish do not recognize the glory of the moon so long as they see the reflection of it in water, taking it to be only one among themselves. So did the Yadus fail to realize that Sri Hari himself was till then staying with them. Yadus did not recognize Bhagavan's glory. The example here is given when the fishes see the reflection of the moon. They don't understand the glories of the moon. They think that this is also another fish. Ingitatnya purupraudha ekara macha sattvada sattvada vrishabham sarve bhutava samamam sata. He in whom all the world reside was regarded only as a Yadava chief by the members of the Yadava clan, in spite of their being clever in understanding people's mind, of possessing high status as citizens, and of living together for long with the Lord. Devasya mayaya sprishta ye chanyadasadashridaha brahmyate tirna tattvakyai atman utpatmanoharo. Those devotees whose minds are absorbed in Sri Hari, the Supreme Spirit, are never confused by the words and attitude of those who, under the influence of the Lord's Maya, look upon him, some as a relative, some as a clansman, and others as their enemy. Pradashyatapta tapasa avitriptadrisham dranam adayandaradhatyastu sabimbam lokalochanam. Revealing till now the charming form of his, even to person without much austerity or devotion to their credit. He has now withdrawn that form, insatiably attractive to person viewing it, and disappeared from their midst, taking away even their eyesight as it were. Manmartyalilopayikam suyogam Mayabalam darshayada grihitam Vismapanam swasya cha saubhagardehe Parampadam bhushana bhushanangam. The body that he assumed by his Yogamaya for sport as a human being was astonishing to himself as it represented the acme of beauty, surpassing all that decoration can achieve. Yadharmasunor padarajasuye nirishya dishkvasyanam trilogaha katyena chatyeta hatgatam vidhaduhu arvavirsau kausalamithya. Seeing at the Rajasuya sacrifice of Yudhishthira, that form of the Lord so delightful to the eye, all the people felt that Brahma had exhausted all his skill in making that body. Yasyanuraga pludaha sarasa Leelavaloga pradilaptamana Vrajashriyo drikpiranupravritta Diyovadastu kilagritya shesha. The women of Vraja stood forgetting to complete their domestic duties, and their minds were entirely drawn by their eyes that pursued his loving smile, sportive action, and entertaining glances. Now, a remembrance description of Bhagavan Krishna's early life is given here, which we will see in our 10th canto. Long way to go. 19th verse. Drishta bhavatir nanurajasuyo chaityasya krishnam shatopi siddhihi yam yoginas samsprhayanti samyak yogena kastat viraham saheta. All of you had seen how at the Rajasuya of Yudhishthira, even Shishupala, the king of Chedis, who insulted Krishna, attained salvation which yogis aspire for by performing many severe yogic practices. How can one bear the separation from such a person? Now here also very beautiful. Tatheva chanye naraloka viraha ya ahave krishna mukharavindam netrai bandho nayanabhiramam parthastrapota padamapurasya. Very beautiful. Similarly, Krishna's realm was attained by all these kings who died in the field of battle, that is Mahabharata war. Seeing the smiling, fascinating face of Krishna before them, as they fell purified by the shaft of Arjuna. Even though Arjuna's shaft killed them, but while dying, they saw Bhagavan Krishna Bhagavan said, Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram. Here, they were able to see Bhagavan himself. Naturally, they attained mukti. Aho bhagiyam stanakalakodam jigamsaya payayatapyasadvi lephe gadim datruchitam tatonyam kam vadayalum saranam prajema. In whom else will we take refuge except in him, the most merciful one? Think how even that evil woman, Putana, attained to that high state to which his mother also is eligible for having suckled him. Though in the case of the demoness, the suckling was with the intention of killing him. Even Putana, even though her intention was bad to kill Krishna, but even then Bhagavan gave moksha too. It is called Putana moksha, not Putana vatham. And such Bhagavan, how can you not be devoted to him? Manne suran bhagavadastvadishe samrabha marga vinivishta ye samyuge chakshatadarshya putram amse sunavayudamapanandam. I consider as devotee even those asuras and wicked men whose mind attained to concentration as Krishna due to their anger towards him. For in the battle, in the field of battle, they saw as they fell the Lord himself attacking them, discus in hand and seated on his eagle vehicle. Okay, thus he continues describing the glories of Bhagavan one by one. Finally, in the 33rd verse, he says, Varshatindre vrajakopat bhaknamaneti vikvalaha gotralila tapatrena trato bhadranubhrannata. O friend, when Indra, enraged and smarting under insult, began pouring incessant rain, he protected the terrified inhabitants of the cowherd settlement by playfully holding the Govardhana mountain as an umbrella over them. We will see all this glory in the 10th canto, more detail. This is a brief description. Now Uddhava continues in the 3rd chapter. Tatas agatya puram swapitro chikishayasham velate vasuyat samyuta nipatya tungat tripuyuthanadam hatam vekarshat vesumo jasorvyam. Afterwards, for the liberation of his father, he, along with Balarama, went to the city of Madhura and killing his enemy Kamsa by throwing him down from a holy throne, lofty throne. He dragged his body over the ground. Then Gurukula Vasam, afterwards, then Rukmini Swayamvaram, then Satyabhama. Along with Satyabhama, he went to heaven and got Kalpa Vriksha, Parijata Vriksha, Narakasura, after having killed Narakasura, then release of 16,000 girls, they finally became his own wife. So these are the stories he gives. We will see all of them in the 10th canto. Now, what happened to the Yadus? That is what he told here, 13th verse. Sakarna dushasana saubalanam kumandrabhagena hadashyayusham suyodhanam sanucharam shayanam bhaknurumurvyam nanananda pashyan kiyan poyam kshapitorubharo yatrodha bhishmarjuna bhimamulaihi अष्टादशाक्षौहिनिको मदंशै नास्ते बलं दुर्विषहं यदूनाम्. He was not satisfied even after total destruction of the Kaurava armies along with Duryodhana, whose good fortune and lifespan were all forfeited because of his succumbing to the evil advice of Karna, Dushasana and Shakuni, and who died in the battlefield with his thighs broken in battle. Only a small part of the burden of the earth has been relieved by the destruction of the 18 Akshauhinis of troops by Drona, Bhishma, Arjuna and others. There still remain the large armies of the Yadus, having invincible prowess, being led by Pradyumna and others. They were born of me, Lord Krishna. Mito yedesham bhavita vivado matva madamra vilochananam naisham vadhopaya iyanadonyo vayutyatendartate swayam smaha. There is no way to their destruction except that they be made to drink to total forgetfulness, to quarrel and fight among themselves, and thus to bring about mutual destruction. My resolution in this regard will automatically take effect. This was Bhagavan's own sankalpa. Evam sanchindya Bhagavan Swarajye stapya dharmajam nandayamasa suhrdaha sadhunam vatnadarshayan. Resolving thus, the Lord had Yudhishthira installed on his ancestral throne and lived in his capital city, exemplifying the way of piety and bringing joy to the minds of friends and relatives. Now I give the reason why all the Yadus killed. 24th verse. Puryam kadajit kridatir yadubhoja kumaragaihi kopita muneyashepu bhagavanta kovida. One day, the young men of the Yadus and Bhojas who were at play insulted some sages who, being thus provoked and angry, pronounced a curse which was in accordance with the wish of the Lord also. Tatak katipayer mase Vrishnibhojandagadaya yayuprabhasam samvrashtya Rade deva vimohita. Some months after, as destiny would have it, the clansmen of Vrishnis, Bhojas, and Antakas went in a joyous mood to Prabhasa in their chariots. After bathing in the holy waters, they performed worship of Devas, Rishis, Pitras, and made gift of excellent cows to Brahmanas. Afterwards, what happened? Next chapter. Afterwards, these Yadavas took their meal, then they drank intoxicants. Losing their wits, thereupon they began to abuse one another in the most offensive manner. By sunset, the effect of intoxicants made them completely senseless and drove them into violent physical conflict like bamboos in a bamboo grove. Bhagavan, seeing the destruction of his own clan in front of him, he settled under a banyan tree. And when I knew Bhagavan is about to withdraw, I approached him and he asked me to go to Badrika Ashram, do tapas. And I could not bear the separation of my Lord. Continued to follow his footsteps. At that time, there arrived sage Maitreya, a great devotee and close friend of sage Vyasa. Then he gave me this, that is called Uddhava Gita. Bhagavan gave him Upadesha, the highest truth. And that truth is given from 11th verse onwards. In brief, Uddhava Gita comes in the 11th canto in details, but here it's only very brief given. Sri Bhagavan Vacha Vedahamandarmanasipsitam te dasadiyattat duravapamanyaihi Satre pura vishwasrijam vasunam massiddhikamena vaso toyeshtaha. Being the residence of the heart of all, I have understood all that you have in mind. I bestow on you that illumination of consciousness which people without devotion can never have. For in your previous birth, you, a Vasu, worshipped me in a great yajna performed by Prajapatis and the Vasus with a view to attain me. Sayesha sadho charamo bhavanam asadidaste matanukrahoyate yenmam nrilokan raha utsrijantam dishtya dadrishwan vishadanuvrittya Nitya. This birth of yours in which you have become an object of my grace is your last birth in this cycle of birth and death. That, moved by the highest devotion, you have been able to follow me and see me in solitude at this time when I am about to leave the world of men is a rare piece of good fortune for you. Then give the Upadesha, 13th. Puramaya pruktamayanaabhe patme nishannaya mavadi sarge jnanam param man mahimavapasam yasurayo bhagavatam vadanti. In the Padmakalpa, at the time of creation, I imparted to Brahma, who occupied my navel lotus, that spiritual knowledge which reveals my supremacy. Learned men call it this as Bhagavata. I shall reveal that to you. So Bhagavan then revealed Bhagavatam to Uddhava. And what is that knowledge is not given here because it will be given in the Uddhava Gita. So just said Bhagavan imparted Bhagavatam to Uddhava. Now, our Vidurji, when he heard, he wanted to know. He was grief-stricken. When he heard about Bhagavan's, Vidurji was grief-stricken. When he heard Bhagavan has departed from this world. And at the same time, he has given the Bhagavata Dharma to Uddhava. And he requested Uddhava to impart that knowledge to him. Then Uddhava said, this particular job was given to Maitreya Rishi. So, Bhagavan remembered you even at the last moment of leaving this body. When Vidurji heard that, Bhagavan remembered me even at the last moment. Vidurji could not control his emotion. He burst out crying, weeping. How compassionate is that Lord? He remembered me. And controlling himself, he requested Uddhava, tell me, where can I find this Maitreya Rishi? Uddhava said, all the rishis are living around the banks of either Yamunaji or Gangaji. So please go and seek him. He will give you the Upadesha. After that, Vidurji left for in search of, and Uddhava left for Badrika Ashram to do tapas as requested by Bhagavan. So, Vidurji also left in search of our Maitreya Rishi. And he found him in Haridwar, near Haridwar. And afterwards, Vidurji asked 100 questions. Similar question Parikshit asked. Since Parikshit questions were directed to Shuka Maharshi, Shuka Maharshi answers Parikshit as a conversation between Maitreya Rishi and Vidurji. Now this is the stage we have to take it from 5th chapter onwards. Okay. So I told you the story. Now here there are beautiful questions, are wonderful questions. And Vidurji's questions are not ordinary questions. All questions looks like, it is our questions. You see, you see that. Very interesting. And here all the Maya, Tattvam, etc. will be very clear. What is Maya? Why Bhagavan created? All these issues will be clear. Then evolution of time. Evolution of time is also like a science book. You can hear that. We shall see that in our next class. Next class will be next Saturday. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.